Hi friends, my name is Kim. Welcome to Healing Place Cottage. Welcome to my kitchen. I am so happy to have you with me today. Today we're going to make one of my favorite side dishes in honor of Thanksgiving this week, fried green beans. It could not be easier. It is a low carb dish and very keto friendly if you're a keto follower. It's diabetic friendly because it is very low in carbs. So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing we're going to do is fry up some bacon. And what I do is I actually just cut the bacon in little pieces because you're going to crumble it at the end anyway. And what we really want right now is the grease from this bacon. That's what we're going to actually fry our green beans in. So I take 6 to 8 slices for 1 can. So if you were going to do this as a side dish for Thanksgiving, my recommendation is that it's typically 3 servings per can of green beans. And I typically will do 4 cans of green beans to 1 package of bacon. And I do 1 onion. So for this recipe today, I'm only going to do 1 can of green beans. So about 6 to 8 slices of bacon. And we just want to crisp this bacon up. That's all we want to focus on right now, is making this bacon crispy and creating a lot of good grease in our pan, bacon grease, that we can use to then fry our green beans. I recommend that early on in the process you go ahead and drain your green beans so that they are getting dry. I have mine right here, and they're in a colander or in a sifter, and I have them over the bowl so the excess liquid is draining off. The drier your green beans, the better. You can use frozen green beans. I typically use canned, but I've done this with frozen and it works just fine. I'm sure that you could do this with fresh green beans as well, although getting fresh green beans at this time of year isn't as easy as it is in the summer. So we're going to let that fry up, and while it's doing that, I'm going to set the bacon aside, and we're going to cut up our onion. So like I said, in this recipe, for a typical recipe, I would use 4 cans of green beans, 1 whole onion. In this case, I'm only using 1 can of green beans. I'm going to go ahead and use half an onion because I love onion. We'll dice it up. I have a friend who I learned to make this recipe from. She actually makes this recipe when she's camping. And I got enough camping when I was in the Army, so I don't do that. But I do love the recipe. So she actually, I believe, makes it with mushrooms. I'm not a mushroom fan, so I don't make it with mushrooms. But you could absolutely make it with mushrooms. When you put your onions in, you could put fresh mushrooms in. Or you could use canned mushrooms. That would work as well if you like those. So we'll let this bacon crisp up. And it's creating a good amount of grease for us. And then when we come back, once it's crisp, we'll remove that and drain the bacon, and then we'll start to fry the green beans and the onions. So the first thing we're going to do is add our onions. We add our onions first because they have moisture in them as well, and we want to fry that up. Now, I do recommend that you cook this on a pretty high heat. That way you get a good char on the fried green beans. So we'll let our onions cook for just a few minutes. Now that they're starting to brown, we'll go ahead and take our drained green beans and add those to our pan. You don't need to add much salt, but I add black pepper. And then I do add a little bit of salt. And then you can fry these as long as you want. Now this does not get as hot. This 2-burner item does not get as hot as a stove does. So I don't think these are going to crisp up the way they do. But you can actually, on your stove, if you do this on a high enough heat, you can get them to get a little bit of a black char on them, which is my preferred way to eat them. But I have family that prefers it when I don't burn them, is what they say. And you can do it as much or as little as you want as far as the frying of them. What this does is they're getting all covered in the bacon grease and that onion, and it's creating a great flavor. So we'll let these cook for a few minutes. Then we will plate them and add our bacon. As you can see, they're starting to get a char. So this I do drain and let that grease come off of there. And then you can actually, if they're not charred enough, you can add them back into your skillet and get them a little bit more charred. They look delicious. You top with your bacon. Give that a little bit of a mix. And there you have it. The perfect keto-friendly side dish for Thanksgiving. It is a low-carb dish and diabetic friendly. There are 333 calories in if you ate half of this. So if you ate that much, there are 333 calories. There are 24 grams of fat. That's all coming from your bacon. 6 grams of carbohydrates, but 1.7 grams of fiber. So that brings our net carbs down to 4.3, and 22 grams of protein. So overall, I think this is a wonderful dish and absolutely delicious for your Thanksgiving table. If you don't already follow me, you can do so on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook at Healing Place Cottage. I post videos Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on YouTube, and sporadically at least once a week on TikTok. So give me a follow, and if you like this video, like it, or give it a thumbs up, and I look forward to cooking with you again soon. Take care, everyone, and have a happy Thanksgiving.